Welcome back to another episode of the Leading Yourself podcast. You probably weren't expecting a new episode this week since typically I only publish new episodes every other week. And I had just published one just last week. But with everything going on around the coronavirus and how it has disrupted our lives in so many ways, I thought I would put together an episode this week to talk about just that. I started the year full of hope, dreams, and goals that I wanted to accomplish in this new decade. And probably you did the same too. Today, I'm putting together this episode because I want to tell you that there is no reason to put those on hold because of what's happening. I know that we're facing very challenging times as a result of the coronavirus, which is causing a lot of stress and uncertainty. And as I said, it has definitely come to disrupt our lives in so many ways. But there is no reason to give up on your dreams and your goals. Welcome to the Leading Yourself podcast. This is your host, Carolina de Arriba. I'm an HR professional, health and fitness coach, wife, mom, and above all things, a goal-getter. In this podcast, we're going to be digging into all things leadership, professional and career development, habits, and relationships. This is a podcast for those who want to become the best version of themselves. Those who have big dreams and are willing to embrace the journey and put in the work to achieve them. My goal is to share with you the tools, tips, and tricks to help you in your journey. So let's dig into today's episode. I truly believe that in times like the ones we're living right now, in the middle of the coronavirus, with all the stress and the uncertainty around us, we need to focus on the things that we can control versus those that we can't control. There are many things that are out of our control. That's the reality. And those are the things that are creating the most stress in our lives right now. There is very little that we can do about those things. On the other hand, there are many things that are in our control, even in the current situation, even though some days we might not feel like it. I'm here to tell you that there's two things that you can always control. There are two things that you get to choose every day. Those are your perspective and your attitude. You can perceive this whole situation as a challenge. Some people may say even is the end of the world as we know it. You can choose to feel overwhelmed and use the current chaotic situation as an excuse to give up on your dreams and your goals, or you can choose to look at this as an opportunity to focus on gratitude, an opportunity to focus on driving your goals and your dreams forward, an opportunity to connect with your loved ones, to spend quality time with them, an opportunity to stop unproductive habits and start new empowering ones, an opportunity to learn and grow personally. See, I believe there's always a bright side in every situation. Even though it might not seem like that in the surface, even in the middle of the current situation, there is a bright side. Today, in this episode, I want to share with you some ideas of things that you can do to focus in these difficult times in order to live your best life despite the coronavirus or any other difficult or challenging situation that you might be facing right now. See, at the end of 2019, I did a podcast episode that I called Living Your Best Life. And that was an episode where I was sharing what was my plan to make 2020 the best year in my life. And I share a lot of resources and tools and reflection guides to help you also achieve that. And today I want to reconnect with that a little bit and share some additional ideas and some additional things that you can be thinking about or focusing on in the middle of this difficult situation to, again, live your best life. So let's dig in. So the first thing is connect with your loved ones. In our day-to-day lives, typically we're always running and we don't have the opportunity really to slow down and take the time to spend enough quality time with our loved ones. So take the opportunity now to connect with them, whether it's in person or virtually. Maybe if your loved ones are not with you, if your friends are not by you, make plans for a virtual coffee date. Hop on the phone or on a Zoom call or a video conference with family and friends. If you're staying home with your immediate family, find opportunities to treasure memories. So when you look back, when all this is over, because it will be over, that you have good memories to remember, not just the chaos and the stress and the fear, but those memorable moments that you spent with your family that you can treasure for many years to come. Maybe you want to establish a new family game night tradition, or watch movies together, or maybe work out together, or get out for a walk together. Get creative. The key here is that you slow down, take this opportunity to slow down and spend quality time with those that you love. The next one is to invest time in building new empowering habits. If you have listened to my podcast or read my articles, you know that I'm keen on habits. So now that you might be spending more time home because you're working from home and your kids don't have school, this is a good time to focus on building new empowering habits. So I really encourage you, if you want to learn more about how to do that, listen to episode 6 or episode 13 of this podcast. And I share on those episodes some tips on how to build empowering habits. I also will be sharing with you on the link that it's on this podcast. There is an article that summarizes this episode and has a bunch of different resources. And one of the resources that I'm sharing with you in that article is a list of my favorite books. And because I'm so keen on habits, there are several books in that list that you might want to grab to learn more about how to build those empowering habits. Okay, the next one, keep up with your routines. Our daily lives have been directly impacted by the coronavirus. Depending where you are, most likely schools are closed. You might now be working from home while you're trying to take care of your kids, and maybe you're not able to go out and do your normal life. In fact, we should all be staying home to help spread or flatten the curve of the virus. So as much as possible, try to keep up with your daily routines. Try to keep up with the same time that you typically wake up, with your morning routine, with your work schedule. Staying in your routine is really going to help you to live as a normal life as possible in the middle of the current situation. And this might also be a great opportunity to start new routines that can help you stay on track. So you might want to listen to the podcast episode where I share my morning routine and the 7 elements that I intentionally built into my morning routine. Building a morning routine can really help you to become a better version of yourself, to be more productive throughout the day, to be more mindful. And now might be the right time to invest in building your own morning routine if you don't have one. So go check out my podcast episode on the topic to get all the tips and the elements, again, that I intentionally build into my morning routine. Hopefully it inspires you to start your own. The next thing is invest in your personal growth. Learn something new. Read a book. Listen to a podcast. Take an online class. What a great opportunity we have to invest in our personal growth. The opportunities are endless here. There's so many resources out there. And in the link on the notes of this podcast, I'm sharing an article with a lot of links to different resources, most of them or all of them free for you, that you can take advantage of to invest in your personal growth and learn something new. I know that many libraries are closed, but most of them have a virtual library available, so you can borrow some books. And I share a link in the article with my favorite nonfiction, leadership, personal and career development and business books. Also, you might want to check out a new podcast that, can be meaningful to the areas that you want to grow this year. Or maybe you want to take an online class. So in the article, again, on the link on the notes of this podcast, I share links to 3 different places where you can find online classes. And most of these places offer like a free trial period. So you can try them out and take advantage of that. Or you can head over to YouTube. There's thousands, millions of videos out there. So take the time. You might be working from home as we were talking about, so you don't have that commute time. So how about investing that commute time in yourself, in learning something new, in your personal growth? The next one is make a vision board. I share in this article also a blog post from a friend who recently talked about why you should have a vision board and how to go about doing one. And a vision board basically is a collage of images that represent your personal vision. And the good news is that you don't have to go to the store to get any supplies. A lot of times when people think about a vision board, they're thinking about scissors and glue and magazines. You can just head to Pinterest, find some inspiring quotes, some pictures, and create a virtual vision board just by copying and pasting those images into a PowerPoint. And I'm sharing in that article my vision board, the one that I made this year. You can do a personal vision board, but you can also try to do a family vision board. How cool will that be? That's also a fun way to spend quality time with your loved ones and think about what is your vision as a family. Or maybe you want to do a vision board for your next vacation once all this is over and you have the opportunity to travel. Like, what would you want to do as a family? Where would you like to go? And you can put that on a vision board. That could be a fun family activity, a fun way to spend quality time with your family. The next thing is work on a new project. Remember that new project that you wrote down on your list of goals for this year? Yes, that one that you have been putting on the parking lot because you didn't have the time to work on it. This might be a great opportunity to invest a little extra time and work on that personal project. Take advantage that you're home, that you have less social commitments, that you have to take less time to get to work because you don't have to commute to work anymore, and use that extra time to work on that personal project of yours. The next thing I want to invite you to do is to move your body. Stay active while you're staying home. Maybe try a new workout routine. What a great opportunity to stay active and start a new workout program, to try something new, to focus on your health and in your well-being. Maybe you want to go out for a walk, of course, following the social distancing guidelines, or try a new workout at home. In the article that you'll find in the link on the notes of this podcast, I shared different resources where you can find options for home workouts. And all of those have free options for you. There are some apps right now that are offering free access because of the current situation. There is an article there that has the 31 best free fitness apps that you can try. And I also attach a link to the one that I personally do, and you also can get 14 days free of that membership. So move your body, stay active. The The more active you stay, the more energy you have. And even though you might be moving less, you still need that energy, and we need to move our bodies. And staying home is a challenge, right? Because we're not walking as much as we typically do in our day-to-day. So make sure you make the time to stay active and move your body. The other thing is travel the world from home. I personally find joy in traveling, in visiting new places, in learning new cultures, in trying new foods. And while probably I won't get to travel for vacation in a while, I can still get and experience all of that without leaving my house. You know, there are a lot of places like museums in Europe that are offering free tours. So how cool. You can avoid all the crowds, all the lines. You get to enjoy all these beautiful places for free. And you know, one thing that I'm trying to do with my family on the weekends is to pick a country, pick a museum in that country that we want to go and visit, and then head to Pinterest and search for new recipes that we can try that are inspired by that country that we're visiting virtually. Another thing, reconnect with your hobbies or explore new ones. You know, spending time doing the things that we enjoy is something that I consider an intrinsic part of living our best lives. Do you have hobbies that you have put in a parking lot because you didn't have time? This can be a great opportunity to reconnect with those things that you're passionate about. Or maybe it's a great time to identify new hobbies, things that you can start doing that will bring you joy and make you feel fulfilled. The next thing, protect your peace. Get out, enjoying the sunrises and the sunsets. You know, a lot of times we miss them. We don't pay attention to nature around us. Depending where you live, try to get out and get some fresh air. I know that this can be a challenge due to the measures that are being implemented to flatten the coronavirus growth curve. But, you know, at least, get to out on your backyard or open the window or go out on a balcony, go for a walk on your neighborhood. And as you do those things, try to slow down and pay attention to your surroundings. Take a deep breath and enjoy nature when possible, of course. Not always we get that chance to slow down and pay attention to our surroundings. You know, I've seen a lot of articles out there on how, the skies are more clear, water is more clear, like in Venice, for example. There's a lot of places that now that the world has slowed down, the earth is kind of healing, right? And there's so many things that you can observe and you can absorb, like listening to the birds, listening to nature, to the wind, all these things that are going to protect your inner peace. And related with this, I also want to invite you to practice mindfulness. I've talked about mindfulness before in other episodes. Maybe the idea of trying it out has crossed your mind before, but you never found the time to try it out. This can be also a great opportunity. If you don't know where to get started, there's a couple of apps that I recommend, and I put the links also on the article that I'm referencing in the notes of this podcast, but they're called Simple Habit, and the other one is Mindfulness Coach. They both have free versions that you can use. Another way to practice mindfulness is to practice gratitude using a journal. So one thing that I do every day as part of my morning routine is that I write down the 5 things that I'm grateful for that happened in the last 24 hours. And since I started this simple practice, I've experienced that I'm more present throughout the day because I know that the next morning I'm going to need to write down 5 things. And let me tell you that when I started this practice, it was hard. But now I'm more mindful throughout the day. And a lot of times 5 things are not enough to write down on my journal. If you want to start a different kind of journal, The self-reflection is something that it's very important, and it's a great way to practice mindfulness as well and help you live your best life. If you've never journaled before, in the article, I referenced 3 resources. There are some resources that I had shared before in the Living Your Best Life site. I have a morning reflection and an evening reflection guide available for you. But also there is this company called the Happiness Planner that is offering free both gratitude and resilience journals through the end of the month. So head to the link in the notes of this podcast episode, and you'll find in that article the links to both the gratitude and the resilience journal. And you can download them for free through the end of the month. So these are my tips, my suggestions on things that you can be thinking about, focusing on, even in these difficult times, to live your best life. As I said, focus on the things that you can control, and you can always control and choose your perspective and your attitude. So choose an attitude of gratitude. Choose an attitude of joy. Choose an attitude of going after your dreams despite the challenging times that we're living right now. Because what a great opportunity. In every challenging situation, there's always a bright side. So try to find that bright side and try to focus on those things that are going to bring you joy and are going to allow you to live your best life. Okay, that's what I have for you today. I hope that you find this helpful. Again, head to the notes of this podcast. I know I've repeated this several times, but there's a link there to an article where you'll find all this information and all the links to all the resources that I've been referencing throughout this episode and more. And if you like today's episode, I will ask you, as always, 2 things. 1, that you head to Apple Podcasts and leave me a review. And 2, that you share this episode with anyone that you think can benefit from today's content. And with that, I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll talk to you again on another episode of the Leading Yourself podcast.